Hello everyone and welcome to the Whales of Wall Street. I'm Steve.
And I am Simon.
And today, Si, we're going to be talking about Solana. Now, it's had a lot of press recently. It's seen huge price gains. So we thought, why not talk about it on today's video?
Absolutely.
Yeah, indeed. So Solana, that can be found under the ticker SOL. It is a hybrid blockchain ecosystem that provides scalable DeFi solutions for dApps. So what we're going to look at is what it does, the price of it, how you can get on board with it, how you could stake it, and maybe where we think it's going to go too. So the Solana Protocol, what it is, it's designed to facilitate decentralized dApp creation. So it aims to improve scalability by introducing a proof of history consensus combined with the underlying proof of stake consensus on a blockchain. Simon, it has super fast times for transactions and smart contract processing, and what it aims to do is give low fees, so it appeals to both small time traders and institutions alike. Solana's mission statement is to scale blockchain for global adoption.
Yeah, it's absolutely massive. I think just looking on the screen now, you can see, the transaction cost is almost non-existent. So it puts in, the brackets of the really high-end sort of hybrid institutional blockchains and ledgers out there. But yeah, the ecosystem of Solana is absolutely gigantic, and I know that's something that you want to go through, Steve. The whole entire what's available throughout Solana, what services, who's it supplying to. It's absolutely incredible list. Big names on there.
Yeah, huge names on there at the moment so far. Ones that have had sizable pumps in the last couple of weeks. Terra Luna, for example. There's also Chainlink as well, which I believe is a bit of a sleeping giant. Yep. You've got the Graph GRT on there too, and Audius, which was a massive one a couple of weeks ago, which saw huge gains. So big projects jumping on the Solana ecosystem. Some defining it as the ETH killer ecosystem, which we may go on to in a bit as well. But yeah, real promise from this project, from a lot of big companies jumping on the bandwagon too.
Yeah, just looking at a couple of the other ones as well that perhaps some people haven't heard of, like Velas VLX. They've always been on my watch list. I've never done anything with them, but when you start linking that up with an ecosystem like Solana, it does speak volumes, in my opinion, and I'm sure yours as well, Steve. Like, there's just endless capabilities of this absolutely phenomenal project. It's only the beginning. The whole development program is really fascinating. The way that they interact with both validators and they've got the hackathon on at the moment. I think something like a $5 million global prize broken into different categories like NFTs, Web3 programs, so all this coding development. It's really bringing a massive crypto and blockchain community together. I mean, that's what we want to see with things like this. So Solana is absolutely phenomenal.
Exactly. It's just gone through rounds of funding as well, which is probably part of the reason why we've seen such a huge price increase in the last week of around about 65%. There is still so much room to grow with Solana. At the moment, it's pushed into the top 10. It's ranked 8 on CoinMarketCap, has a market cap of just over $33 billion, a circulating supply of 290 million with a total supply of 500 million. At the moment, as you can see, the price is around about that $115, $116 mark. It did get up to about 130, but as I said, there is so much room to grow with Solana. To give you an example, I know a lot of projects have gone huge this year already, considering we have had a massive dip in the middle part of the year, but I made a note about Solana when I was getting into crypto. As you know, Simon and myself have not been in this for the longest period of time, myself only since December, January time, and I made a note on my phone on the 22nd of January to look at Solana as a project to get into. At that time, it was $3.34 in January, and I said to myself, Simon, I said, it's a bit pricey, isn't it?
Absolutely mental.
It's a little bit pricey
Absolutely
for me right
crazy.
now. I'll watch it and see how it goes, because at the time I was buying things like XRP, Cardano, VeChain, a lot of projects under the 50 cent mark, really, to accumulate a lot of those at the time. And my gosh, it has gone nuts. So from $3.34 when I first looked at it on the 22nd of January 2021, all the way up to at the moment $116. If you just bought 100 Solana tokens, Simon, on the 22nd of January for $334, you would have $11,500 sat in
It's
your
incredible.
account right now.
It's absolutely incredible. I think there's so much distraction out there. Not necessarily distraction because they're all unbelievable projects, of course. Don't get me wrong there. But Solana was one of those I think was just creeping up and up without anyone really focusing on it until, back in the last cycle that we had around March, April time, actually started people taking notice. You get all the big hype videos and this, that, and the other. And then you start understanding the principle of what Solana is. And it's literally just come out of nowhere almost. It's had the correction. People, I'm sure, have taken great advantage of that. And now we're seeing it in unprecedented opportunities where we don't know the end of it just yet. Of course, we're still doing a bit more analysis on that, but the opportunity of Solana is absolutely gigantic. And like you said earlier about the infrastructure of the different blockchains and ecosystems of crypto and blockchain out there, this is certainly one of those ones that everyone needs to start paying attention to. For sure.
100%. And it's one of these ones which I still don't feel that we've missed the boat on yet.
Yeah.
Although the price has obviously gone insane from what you can take it at the start of the year, there is room to grow.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely one that we can accumulate through the bear market. I think buying it now is still not a bad opportunity, but we're not going to see huge gains. I don't think. I think we'll see maybe a 3 to 5x on Solana.
Certainly from now. I mean, if we were talking back in January about this, not even knowing about it, who could have even anticipated this level of price point? But I think we've got to be realistic in now that if you are jumping in, just be considerate in your strategy to think that the gains aren't going to be probably as big as if you bought in January to now versus buying now to say the end of this year. You've just got to bear that in mind. When you're thinking about that, don't just FOMO in because it's up there. Of course, Solana in the future will be absolutely huge, and if you're doing it on that anticipation, then great, you'll definitely win on that. But also, is like you said with the bear market, that's your bear opportunity to make sure that you're ready for that next run in, say 3-4 years time.
Exactly. To put it into relative context, Simon, to put my cards on the table, I didn't get into Solana till it was in the $30 bracket.
And even then, I think that's fantastic. Not take hindsight away. I think as the general project, $30 in 4 or 5 years' time is going to be absolutely laughable.
And this is what we'll get onto now, is a lot of people are calling Solana the ETH killer.
Yeah.
The next Ethereum, the better Ethereum, the new Ethereum. Although Ethereum 2.0 is something that we're yet to see and could completely change the game. But what do you think? Could Solana be the future of where projects go to build on? Because it's fast, it's a lot cheaper, and we've seen some big projects already move there.
I think there's a couple of aspects of that. So Ethereum, from its historic background, is slightly different to Solana. Obviously, Solana is more of a development program bringing ecosystems together. Ethereum's kind of uses the blockchain technology that other projects use, but there's different slight aspects of it. So they're kind of different to each other, if that makes sense, but enough so to not kind of bracket them as such. But Ethereum, we all know about the gas fees. Even after their upgrade to the 2.0, it hasn't really made much of a difference yet, and it's to be seen whether that continues to improve. But I think with projects like Solana, Polkadot, we talk about all of these other ones as well. These guys are offering so much more, and the only reason, in my opinion, that Ethereum is so strong right now is because it was one of the early adopters. As soon as Bitcoin came out, Ethereum was slowly after that. I think very shortly after, in a couple of years format, before it hard forked to like Ethereum Classic and things like this. It was the go-to destination. If you wanted to get into crypto and blockchain, you would go on Ethereum. But what we do see more and more of now is more projects removing themselves from Ethereum because of things like the gas fees, the opportunity of development, and the uptake of what they're trying to achieve. So to answer your question, absolutely, I think things like Solana in time, maybe not even 5 years, but definitely in 10 years' time, when you give that enough time of transparency and everything, it could definitely take over.
100%. I mean, this is something that is for the future. We're not talking about it, as you say, this year, next year. It could be 5 to 10 years' time. And there is always the comparison, as it doesn't necessarily always matter who's first. It's who's best.
Yeah.
I mean, 20 years ago we were using Ask Jeeves as
I know.
our
Yeah,
search
yeah.
engine.
Lycos and
You can't look past Google now.
Absolutely.
They weren't one of the first, but they're the best, and that's something that potentially Solana could become, and we could see prices far exceed ETH in the future.
Absolutely, and I think they all need each other anyway, just to keep pushing each other to the next boundaries. It's not like a big tribal or competition kind of thing. They complement each other in different ways. But I just do think that Solana offers a lot more in terms of development and taking blockchain to that next level, and that's why more and more companies are joining them.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And another thing as well, mate, just before we go on to the final topics of like the charts and everything, and the bull run, etc. Solana is something to think about as well, which is the Slim token. This is actually part of what you need to obtain XSlim, which is the governance aspect of Solana. So similar how to like GZIL, VeThor tokens work in terms of keeping the system healthy, in terms of being able for users and validators, etc., to make things like voting conversations, developing the blockchain in the way that they feel they should. So do have a look at that as well, because it could be one of those things that builds up in price as the ecosystem becomes more popular. The governance becomes even more important. And we've seen, like even with GZIL, of its bit of fluctuated price at the moment, but they have staggered. When big announcements come out and when big changes in the the ecosystems happen, GZIL, for example, flew up to something like $400-500. So if you're accumulating these for free via staking and things like that, it's just something to consider as an additional point to have a think about. So go check that out on their website, learn a bit more about Slim and the XSlim protocols for that element of it. So I just thought I'd throw that in there because it's a really important part of Solana as well.
Definitely. But let's have a look at the charts now, Simon. You are the master of this area, and see where we think Solana could potentially get to.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. So looking at this chart here, there's a couple of pointers I want to throw out here. So we've had substantial growth since the 20th, 21st July. I always make a reference to that in all the charts at the moment, because this was kind of like the dipped point, the lowest point after the big rise we had around April and May time. But this is significant growth, guys, because we've gone from $22. We've hit yesterday, I think, a high of 130. We've had the retracement in the last 24 hours, as you can see, which has dipped down, but it's still a positive movement. There's two things I take from this is people have missed out on the opportunities yesterday. That's why you're seeing a good rise up again. The hackathon is still going on till October. So there's an argument to say that this could actually stabilize and continue to grow in that period of time. But if you're looking at it from a proper chart analysis perspective, I've got my words mixed up there.
Analysis perspective.
That'll do. You'll see in this area around the 20th, 21st to the 21st of August, there was a slight correction. We got the support line here at 65, but I want you guys to be cautious out there. This isn't a hype video. We want to look at both aspects of this as well. There have only been one touch elements in the past, both here and here on the support areas of around $57 to $58. So there is an opportunity, whether it be near future or certainly in a few weeks or a month's time, that we might come back to test those lines. So I put these purple areas in here. Me personally, I haven't got any Solana. I know Steve has. But for me, I might be looking at this as potential buy opportunities. There's no point buying it now because the RSI is quite high. The MACD is very high in terms of the gap widening more and more. So the opportunity of gains is less at this point in time. Okay, so just bear that in mind. We want to be realistic here. So yes, you could get a similar retracement as we had in the 20th, 21st of August around this area that we see now, as in today's day. But do anticipate potentially when we do have major corrections, like when Bitcoin rises and rises and then you have an entire market dump over a night or 2 night period. Not saying that it will happen that immediately, but do anticipate potential drops into some of these areas. Not all of them, but I'm putting them there as potential buy opportunities, not financial advice, just my thoughts and opinions on this when you're considering potential buy chances again. But that's not to say that this still has room in the tank. We are 79.80 on the RSI, which means there's still opportunity for a bit more growth in that tank. And the MACD is showing unbelievable positivity. That gap is widening, so it would indicate on those 2 points that we're still in a potential movement upwards as well. So we could test the previous all-time high yesterday that we hit at 130 again, and that's when you'll start seeing the significant opportunity of Solana. Will we test above that, or will it be our new resistant support line? And that's when you'll start seeing the tail off as momentum disappears. So we just want to keep it realistic here and look at 2 or 3 different options for you guys out there. But in terms of the heights, we believe as of this moment in time that we could see between sort of $350, $380 in this next cycle, or this full entire cycle of the run. That's not to say that that is its maximum, but we do anticipate that potentially as a minimum opportunity. But we will have to reassess that perhaps in a couple of weeks' time when we start seeing a bit more stability in this chart, because at the moment it's had that parabolic rise in such a short space of time over a month. It would be wrong of us to just chuck out numbers of $1,000, $2,000 when we don't have the system in place right now to give you the accurate information. So that's what I'm going to leave it as. Performance wise, weekly, monthly, 3 months, even 6 months. A lot of the charts in 6 months show red because of that decline we had around April, May time. That is not there with Solana. So this just shows absolute strength in this project. So anything can happen, but let's reassess this in a couple of weeks when we sit down together again and look through Solana, all the developments of the hackathon and everything like that. Exactly. That is me done.
Great stuff, Simon. That's fantastic. So if you like Solana, if you've liked this video, make sure to smash that like button. Also, if you're not, give us a follow on the Wells of Wall Street channel. You can also follow us across multiple other social media outlets like Twitter and Instagram, and on TikTok as well, all at Wells
everything.
Of Wall Street.
Everything.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you in the next video, and we'll see you on the moon.
Take care, guys.